Hey, how you doing? I am a mess, and I apologize, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I was just watching something, and if you saw a month ago now, actually, I had posted a vlog on here, and I haven't done that lately because I felt like, I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything, so what's the point? But, I was just watching something, and it made me realize I don't need to, record aesthetic fucking vlogs and shit, although eventually I would like to do something like that. But, I don't need to do that right now. Why not just talk? Why not just talk at the camera? Because, you know, there's some things that I have been dealing with lately. Quite a few things, actually. And why not talk about them? So, first of all, I've been thinking of leaving my job at Amazon because, they're not taking my mental health seriously. I was trying to put in an accommodation for not being put in a specific area, and instead of understanding it's a mental thing and it has nothing to do with the physical work, I'm fine with the physical work, but the environment and the way the lights blink and the people are so noisy, and I'm surrounded by people on all sides, and I have to build a pallet with other people, and I just feel so crowded, and ugh. I think you understand that feeling if you are someone like me who has anxiety. But my workplace doesn't understand that. They're like, no, we need you to give us physical, what you specifically cannot do, and it has to be something physical, not the environment. And it's like, that's not how my fucking brain works. That's not how any of this works. Sorry. It's the people. It's not the work, it's the people. The work is easy, if I'm gonna be honest, but it's the people being crowded around me that I cannot stand, that I cannot sit there and be okay with, and with the boxes piling up, and the lights blinking, and when the chute is full and the lights blinking, it makes a really loud sound, and that also messes with me to the point where I would have to walk away or I start crying. And even then, sometimes I get to the point where I'm crying before I start walking away. And sorry, I really had to get that out because the way they're not understanding this really pisses me off. But because they're not taking it seriously, they're like, no, it has to be a physical thing or we can't give you an accommodation. Makes me want to be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm out of here, even if I don't have another job lined up, because what the fuck? I have given you everything I can from my doctor that is the main reason I'm asking for this accommodation, and you're still not accepting it. You're still not accepting it, and I don't have insurance. I'm a 28-year-old woman. I'm no longer on my parents' insurance. Amazon doesn't offer me insurance because I'm part-time. I only get visual and dental and stuff. And it's like, you guys are not understanding the actual situation. It has nothing to do with the physical work. And if I'm just taken out of the situation, if I am not in the situation, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. I can be in a fucking trailer. I can jam brake. I can be upstairs where we're scanning packages on and putting them on robots. That's not hard. That I am by myself most of the time in those situations. I mean, yes, a lot of times I'll have another person with me in a trailer because it's faster, but it's not like I'm crowded on all sides by people, and I'm not having to try and build a palette with other people. But even if I did add that to my accommodations, they'd be like, well, that's not enough to not put you over there. Which is stupid. Like, I genuinely would rather be a security guard in a haunted, abandoned hospital than be at Amazon anymore. I'm not even joking. And, like, being a security guard wouldn't be a problem. I've done it before. That was my second job. Amazon's actually my third job I've had in my entire life. The first one was Sam's Club. And I was getting targeted by the manager because my anxiety and other issues didn't fit her idea of an employee, and she purposely targeted me for various things. Like, let me give you an example here. So, when I was working at Sam's Club, after the store was closed, when the forklifts and the overnight stalkers were coming in, we were allowed to have one earbud in our ear. And that's what I did. I had one earbud in my ear. And I was organizing the alcohol section. I had finished organizing something, and I was walking back to take boxes to the back, and she comes up and says, you need to take those out, because you need to pay attention to where the forklifts are going. When I was, by the way, just want to let you know, I was paying attention to the forklifts. And not even 5 minutes later, I saw her walking past a coworker of mine. He had earbuds in both of his ears, and she didn't say a damn thing to him. Not a damn thing. This was before this happened. I went to California in 2018 to see a BTS concert. I am an ARMY. And I had asked for 9 days off. Just 9 days. Like, barely over a week. And I had been working at Sam's Club for over a year at this point. At least a year. Yes, at least a year. And she was like, oh, 9 days is kind of a lot. It's like, no, it's fucking not. You're delusional. You're fucking delusional, and even if it was, I should have had not only paid time for that, but plenty of unpaid time for that. And, and she was, like, going through it, and was like, well, it's gonna be unpaid, when, by the way, like I said, it should have been paid. Because I had been there for a year, and I had never taken a fucking sick day once. Not once. But eventually I ended up quitting. I was like, you know what? This bitch is targeting me. We're not doing this. Then I became a security guard, and it was actually quite nice. I was on my own time most of the time, so I could, like, write or listen to a podcast or watch something on YouTube or, that sort of thing, until a truck came along, and of course I had to check the paperwork and everything. And that's where the issue started, was, so I started working at this security company, Securitas, in 2019. A year later, COVID. And the truck drivers were supposed to show us their phones because they weren't giving out physical paperwork anymore. And that's when they started throwing hissy fits. They didn't want to show me their paperwork, and unlike my coworkers who would just open the gate and let everyone go through, I was actually doing what I was supposed to, checking the paperwork, checking to make sure everything was hooked up, putting the wheel chalk under the tires, etc. And they would always be like, you're the only one who does this. Yeah, because I'm the only one doing my fucking job. And then, as you can see back here, I got a little dog. I got that little dog in 2019, and around 2022, he was having some weird medical problems, And not even the vet knew what was going on. The vet just, like, gave him steroids. And ultimately it helped out. He's fine now. What are you doing? He's fine now. But when the vet said every 12 hours, my brain was like, oh, that needs to be every 12 hours on the dot. That's how my brain works. And so when I was at work, and sometimes it would be like, oh, hey, can you stay an extra 4 hours, which would make my 8-hour shifts 12-hour shifts? Then my mom would have to give him his medication. And she would always, not always, but sometimes she would give it a little late, and I was getting nervous because in my brain, I was like, no, the doctor said every 12 hours, so it has to be every 12 hours on the dot, 3 a.m., 3 p.m., no leeway whatsoever. That's how my brain works. I don't know what to tell you. I've learned since that's ideal, but not necessarily true, as long as it's not too long after the 12-hour mark. Anyway. But eventually I was like, the truck drivers got frustrating. Not being able to take care of him was frustrating. And so I ended up quitting. And that was around March 2022. And then I was unemployed for about half a year. And then June 2023, my sister was like, hey, I know you need a job. And this place is hiring. It's pretty cool. And it was at the time, not so much anymore. But it was at the time. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Because I had been trying to be streamer, YouTuber, all that stuff, but unfortunately that stuff is very much luck-based. And I was trying. My mom even was like, well, shouldn't it be enough now? It's been like 6 months, which is not how social media works. Unfortunately. I wish it was, but unfortunately that's not how social media works. So, yeah, now I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm ready to leave Amazon again after 2 years because they're not taking my mental health seriously. Which is ironic because they're all like, oh, we care about you. We have this board for like wellness, like you can scan this QR code and get help if you need it, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, you actually don't give a fuck. I am dispensable to you. If I quit, you'd be able to get someone in a day, probably. Someone who's more desperate for a job than me. Someone who's younger than me and not almost 30 trying to work in a warehouse situation. Someone you can treat like shit and they won't care, like how I was at my first job when I worked at Sam's Club. That's the kind of people you want, not the people who stand up to you, not the people who have mental health problems who you don't want to help. You don't want those people. You want little minions who will be like, oh, I'm so sorry, here, I'll go do this, here, I'll go do that. No. I'm not that person. I've been working for 8 years. I'm not that person. I'm not so scared of getting in trouble anymore. So there was, something else I was doing there called Water Spider, which is where you, like, close down pallets, move it, etc., etc. And I was starting to be like, I don't care for this, because the other Water Spiders, specifically in the non-con section, which is like the big, heavy boxes, like this desk I am sitting at, would be considered non-con in the box. I was moving what they call U-boats when I thought they were full, because you're not supposed to fill them over the line, and people still fucking do it, but that's beside the point. you're not supposed to fill them over the line. So I was closing them when I was like, oh, it's almost to the top, or it's right at the top. And the other water spiders and the workers were like, what is she doing? Why is she closing it up? It's not full yet, blah, blah, blah. When it was, by the way, it was, they just wanted to overfill it. Oh, goodness, I need to drink water. Stay hydrated, everyone. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm not about to get in fights with people because they're mad that I'm doing what I'm supposed to again. That seems to be a very common occurrence in all the places I've worked over the last 8 years. Anyway, and, you know, I have started streaming again. I don't stream daily. I would like to, but it's kind of like, sometimes I just don't have the motivation to do this. I'm surprised I even got the motivation to fucking record this, honestly. And, I've been working on my writing. I'm hoping to self-publish something by the end of this year, but I am a person who has a lot of ideas, a lot of, like, I want to write this, I want to write that, I want to write multiple things at once, and then I get overwhelmed, and then I scrap everything, and then it's a vicious cycle. I'm currently working on 2 writing projects when I was trying to only work on one, and I started writing down another idea in a notebook. So, there's that. But writing's hard. If you've never tried to write a whole ass novel, first of all, would highly recommend, because it definitely shows, you know, how much you can actually work on. I think the longest thing I have written in recent times was a fan fiction that was 31,000 words and 13 chapters. No, 18 chapters. And a novel is 40,000 words or more. So I know I can get to that point. It's trying to figure out how to get to that point. Because once you get to, like, the middle of a story where it's like there's not much happening and you're trying to figure out a way to move the plot forward without it seeming to move too fast, it's a little frustrating, it's a little hard, and that's why I haven't written any actual original work that's longer than 20,000 fucking words. But I'm trying. It's definitely harder than one would think, and, you know, I only graduated high school. I graduated high school in 2016, and even then it was barely, because by my senior year, I didn't care anymore. I was having issues with the teachers. I was feeling, a little, I don't know, I guess demotivated. Because I was like, I'm in my senior year, I'm ready to be fucking done with this, and I want to get through this, but I was also trying to focus on theater and stuff at the time, which, unfortunately, by my senior year was very cliquey, and I was kind of the outcast even in theater, but let's not get into that. So, like, I was having a hard time with my classes, and I've never been good at math. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. I've never been good with math, or a lot of science, for that matter. I think the best science grade I had was biology. Like, I had a hell of a time with physics. I think I failed physics, actually, and I think I had to retake it my senior year. I didn't do very well with chemistry, because chemistry also has a lot of math in it. So does physics, if you don't know. But biology didn't have that much, at least in my opinion. And it was honestly kind of interesting to listen to, and but I was also someone who never did homework. I never did my fucking homework, and I will admit to that. I will admit that was stupid. But I never did my homework because I would get so frustrated so quickly, and then I would just toss it and be, well, not actually toss it, but I'd be like, I'd shove it back in my bag and be like, I'm not doing this. And yeah, so I barely graduated high school. I think my GPA was less than 3.0. I'm gonna be 100% with you. I think it was less than 3.0. I don't remember. It's been almost 10 years. It's been 9 years. But I think it was kind of on the lower end, my GPA by the time I graduated. But yeah, all that to say, wow, that got off the rails real fucking quick. Ideally, I would like to have a job where I could work from home, set my own hours, things like that, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of that. But to round this all off, I am thinking of quitting Amazon. I know this was super long-winded, super random, didn't make much sense, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. I just enjoy me talking at you if you're that kind of person. I don't know what y'all are like. Don't do what you want. You do you. Just whatever, man. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Thank you if you watched this super rambly vlog that made no goddamn sense. I just figured I'd make a random vlog and just talk for a little bit, talk about everything that has happened so far in my goddamn life. 22 minutes of me talking about random shit. Enjoy. Have a good day, night, morning, evening, or whatever time it is, wherever you are. I don't know if I'm even gonna upload this, but I'll certainly have it on my computer. See y'all later.